Well, good afternoon, everyone. And for those of you who've been with us throughout the day, thank you for sticking with us and making it to the final presentation of the day. We are so excited that we are going to be joined by a good friend of ours, Miss Kelly from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. She's a regular here in Imperial County and typically will come and join us for Higher Education Week 1 and 2 as we in previous years would travel around to all of your high schools to come and see you. So I know she has some fantastic information. I especially love hearing about their spring shows and all the things, creative things that are done at FIDM. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to turn it over to you, Kelly. It's all yours. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Denise. This is a great opportunity. I'm so excited that Imperial Valley is still continuing the tradition. I'm here as a representative of FIDM. I want to tell you a little bit about the college, certainly answer any questions that you might have. I know that being a senior, you're very often bombarded with so much. And of course, people wanting to know what your plans are and where you're headed. So I love that you're visiting here today. I love that you're researching colleges and trying to figure out what the right fit is for you. I do believe that there's a college for everyone and that everyone does have a college that fits them best. So I'll tell you a little bit about FIDM. We're a four-year college. We are a college that specializes, though, in what we call applied arts. So anything creative or business creative that can be applied to our practical things that we use every day. So the type of majors that we teach are fashion design, footwear design, graphic design, digital film. We have a beauty industry marketing, merchandise marketing. We actually have a digital marketing, which is social media. So we're an applied arts college that specializes in degrees that lead into the clothing and apparel and fashion industry, as well as the entertainment industry and the marketing industry. So I'll tell you a little bit about those as we go along. I think that it's important to realize how huge the clothing and apparel industry is. Sometimes I believe that we're not certain the fashion industry has anything to do with our little world, but you know, it's everything that we wear. It is our clothes, our shoes, our accessories, backpacks, watches, jewelry, even the makeup and the cologne and the body products that we use, all part of this industry. And in the United States, just in the United States, this industry generates over $400 billion every year. So there are definitely careers that are necessary in that $400 billion industry in the US. FIDM is one of the few colleges that actually prepares, professionalizes, and educates students to be in these particular industries. So, you know, when you start thinking about what you're interested in, start exploring what your natural talents are, what your natural hobbies are, your preferences, things that you like to spend your time on. And we'll go over a few majors and I'll highlight a few that I think a lot of students don't realize they could go into. I do think that the entertainment industry, the fashion industry are industries we assume just happen and we forget about all the people that make it necessary to keep it going. So to begin with, I want to show you a very, very short video. I feel it's very inspirational. It's on our fidm.edu website, and it's just a quick way to start our journey here today. So let's share my screen. Actually, let me back up there for a second. And we will take a very quick listen to this video.
FIDM to me means creative opportunity and success.
Like, I can look at a brand or a company, I can decipher their advertisements. That's a gift that FIDM gave to me. I use a design ethos for products, for people, to everyday life. It's like, okay, I'm a fashion designer. I'm a designer of life.
FIDM gives us the tools to step into the industry and be well-rounded, and we have that passion, but now we have all the tools to take it to the next level. I love how unique I feel, but also in a community and how we can come together and create.
I've made lifelong friends here.
Definitely feel a sense of community and love here and acceptance.
Now that I'm here, I feel like I belong here.
It's just really inspiring and very unique. I don't really feel like there's another place like it.
So there was a very quick inspirational video. You know, FIDM has been around since 1969, and we've educated over 75,000 graduates in these areas, in these fields, and the success stories are really wonderful. I always tell a student and a graduate that success is not fame. Success is doing what you really set out to do and what you love and enjoy doing. At FIDM, our majors are very creative, but they are also very business as well. We make certain that in all of our creative majors, there is a very strong business component. And in our business majors, there is still a very strong creative component. Those two go together so powerfully when you work in the industries that we're talking about here. The journey for a student begins in high school, and as a junior or a senior, that student can begin to apply. We have junior advantage deadline dates that lock in the tuition for a junior if they choose to do that. And we also have some priority deadlines for our seniors. However, we're on rolling admissions. So if a student comes to June and just hasn't quite figured it out yet and still wants to explore FIDM, there is still that opportunity. We're on the quarter system. So we have a quarter that begins in July, October, January, and April. So that 4-quarter system is the structure that we wrap our education around. Now, a student begins with an associate degree. So those first 2 years is very impactful in industry education. It's a little different. It's actually quite different from your typical college that begins with general eds. We begin with 70% of your industry classes from day one. And after the 2-year associate degree, a student then can move on into an advanced program that I'll show you in just a minute, or they can continue on into their bachelor degree. At FIDM, we also have an MBA program for those students who want to take that 4-year education and complete it with their master's. So industry, business, creativity, all of this combined in some very powerful career direction. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the website, the FIDM.edu website. And I really want you to just see how easy it is to navigate, to get around, to find out information. All right. We'll talk about some of the majors. We'll look at some of the admissions process. And we'll also talk about some ways that you as a student could get scholarships. Some of these are automatic scholarships. And I always like to tell students about these because college is expensive and we want to try to make that burden as light as possible. So let's take a look at our website. FIDM.edu. And to begin with, at the top of the page, you're going to see our little headliners here. okay? And I'm gonna start with the majors. And I just wanna walk you through the ease of researching these different majors, all right? So over 30 different creative majors. They begin with that 2-year associate. They can lead into a junior advanced study and then finish with a BA or a BS and on to the MBA. But you're gonna see majors here that you might not find at many other colleges because of the specialty programs that we offer. But if you were someone who came to me and were very interested in beauty products, I would steer you towards, first of all, the AA and the beauty marketing and product development. And you could check this out by simply clicking on the square, scrolling down, and you're going to have 2 courses here to check out. The facts really go into the curriculum, the tuition, the degrees that are offered, and the experience will go into what are some of the industry partnerships that FIDM has? What are some of the things the students are doing, the grads are doing? What are some of the career opportunities? You can literally check or click on the career opportunities and you will see a list of different job titles associated with this particular degree. So you're going to get as much information as you could possibly use simply by going into each different layer. You can see all the different job titles. And each one of these majors is broken down like this. I like to point out a few that, again, I don't think you're familiar with as part of FIDM. Many times students associate us with straight fashion, but I want to show some specialty things. The digital marketing, like I mentioned, the social media. If you love social media platforms, if you are great at using the different platforms, take that, move it into an education and learn how to use those platforms in marketing to be able to market an event, a company, a product, a business, all right? Certainly we have fashion design, but we also have our digital cinema, our film. If you're interested in entertainment, going into a full film school, our digital media and digital cinema majors really go into cinematography, screenwriting, special effects, full film, and that post-production as well. So you've got production, post-production. You can check that major out. The other thing that some of these third-year juniors, special years can lead to are things like entertainment set design. So a student might have gone through 2 years of interior design, but now wants to take that skill into the movie industry and learn to create set and set design. So entertainment set design would be that junior year. A student might have taken fashion design and learned how to sew, how to create patterns, how to fit fabric on the body. But now they want to take it into the film industry and they want to go into costume design. So we have film and TV costume design as well as theater costume design. You'll notice our menswear. That degree is actually, we're one of the only colleges in the United States that has a specialized menswear degree and menswear program. So I'm gonna give you a little homework and have you explore these majors after you are done with your webinar today, and find the thing that fits you best. You know, before I continue, I also want to point out the QR code there in the corner, along with, I'm going to be Vanna White here and show you the URL that you see. I'd love for you to please take a moment during this presentation, scan the QR code. It will bring you to a very short form where you can, excuse me, get connected to FIDM's resources and really begin the journey that I'm talking about. Now, I also told you that I would talk to you about scholarships and admissions. So let's go back to the website. There we go. And let me just do a quick drop down menu in admissions. All right, again, very easy to navigate, a lot of information for you. You'll be able to schedule a virtual tour. You can certainly, you see this down here in the corner, you can contact admissions from here. You can also you can actually chat with an admissions advisor. So you can do that here. But all of these little squares, very easy to navigate. Basically how to apply, what that application process looks like, what housing, student housing looks like. Let's just click on that really quickly and you can get a feel for one of our housing apartment complexes. This is right across the street from the FIDM campus. And it is an apartment style living. We don't have dorms. We contract with local apartment complexes. And so a portion of that complex is just FIDM students. It is very safe, it's key entry. So it is monitored by RAs to make sure that the students are safe, they don't need anything. So you can see that quick little housing there. What I want to talk about very briefly is what does admissions look like at FIDM? And basically, applying in any one of our design majors is going to include showing us 8 to 12 pieces of any sort of creative work that you have done. And that can be pictures you've taken. It might be sketches that you've drawn in art class, paintings, sculptures. Maybe you made something like a purse or you decorated a pair of Vans. We want to see that. We'd like to see how you express yourself creatively. We don't expect you to be ready for the industry. That's our job. But we want to see how you let your creativity show. Now, if a student is applying in one of our business majors, like merchandise marketing, digital marketing, the beauty industry, those degrees actually, the admissions is a project that a student will complete. And whether it's a portfolio or a project, that is accompanied by a short essay, 2 references, and your transcripts. Now, in these times of COVID and social distancing, I know that many colleges are not requiring the SAT or the ACT. For FIDM, that has never actually been a requirement. We're a creative college, and it is absolutely difficult to put creativity into a grade point or a test score. So we really want to look at the entire person. Again, how do you express yourself in your project or your portfolio? What do you have to say in your essay? Talk to us about what your plans and your hopes are. When you scan that QR code, you will also be connecting, like I said, to admissions. And that admissions partner, that admissions counselor, their role is to guide you through the admissions process. And it is a very personal one-on-one connection. It's the person that a student can go to if they're unsure about something, if they have questions, what's the next step in the process? And they really help to guide that student through the admissions process. And that one-on-one conversation becomes very valuable as well. Now, in these days when we can do this virtually, it's great to have your parents or your guardians along with you in that virtual meeting, because I know that they have a lot of questions as well. Now, I still have to show you a little bit about scholarships. So let's take one more journey into the website, and we're going to go over here to our little icon of people, and we're going to go down to Fashion Club. Now, I know that some of the schools out there in the Imperial Valley have had some very, very successful FIDM fashion clubs. Say that fast. All right. It's a great way to join with people who have like interests. You can have the focus of the club be interiors or graphic design or film, but it is all through the FIDM Fashion Club website. I brought it up here. It's a fashionclub.com, and it will give you information on how to start a club, to run your club. But I also want you to know the benefits that go beyond the fellowship. And that is scholarships, all right? So if you're a member of Fashion Club, there are certain scholarships that are only accessible by FIDM Fashion Club members. We have a junior scholarship that is a full 1-year competitive scholarship. We have some $5,000 senior scholarships. But those being competitive, what about the ones that are automatic? As a Fashion Club member, if you attend at least 7 meetings in your junior or your senior year, you will automatically be given $5,000 scholarship per year at FIDM when you're admitted into FIDM. That's $20,000 simply for having been in the Fashion Club. Now, if you are bold and brave and you are one of the presidents, which you can have several presidents in a club is fine, co-presidents, you actually receive a $10,000 a year scholarship for up to 4 years. $40,000 that you don't have to repay simply for being in the club and running the club and then passing it on as you graduate. I like to show that because I feel that not enough students take advantage of the scholarships that are out there. And I want you to, be aggressive with searching out scholarships, but here's an easy way to obtain some very, very large scholarships simply by being part of or running a club. Now, if there happen to be any educators out there, one of the things that I did want to show very quickly, and actually students, you can go on and enjoy these as well. Under our educator website, we have some very fun games that teach, and they will be somewhat aligned with your curriculum, but some of them are just driven by fashion. So if you have some downtime and you want to do some crossword puzzles or some word searches, we have some great games that teach. So I want to encourage you to that as well. So wrapping up, I think that what I want to say is, you may not know today what your journey is going to look like. But if you start researching and you start visualizing yourself on college campuses, determine what it is that drives you, that you love to do, and then seek out the majors that align themselves with that. I believe that your path can be amazing. And I think it's kind of all up to you, but we're here to help you as well. You see my name along the bottom of the screen, and my email is there as well. Please feel free to take a picture of that. You can email me with any questions. If you'd like to start a fashion club, if you weren't able to get connected to admissions and you'd like to talk to someone, you can email me, and I would love to talk to you about that as well. But at this point, I want to make sure that we don't have any questions out there.
Well, hey, thank you, Kelly. This is Todd Evangelist, and I work here at the Imperial County Office of Education. And some students may have just tuned in for this particular session, so we're glad you're here to let you know the greater context. We're having one of these sessions happen at the top of every hour from 1 o'clock through 4 o'clock every day this week and next week as well. And what you have landed on is the session led by Kelly, who is from the Fashion Institute Design Merchandise
Yes.
here. And there's a couple questions that we have, some that were pre-submitted for this
Okay.
session. But however, if you're a student who's sitting in the webinar right now and you'd like to ask a question, at the bottom of your screen there's a Q&A tab. Move the mouse around and find that tab. Feel free to share a question. We'll be able to share it. Kelly will be able to see it. We'll share it with her, and we'll ask that question live. But in the meantime, there's a couple questions that were submitted
All right.
a little bit earlier.
Well, that's awesome.
But by the way, as we were doing this, I really liked that last point about the website. The website was really, really awesome, because what I liked about it is that you were able to go down to a list of majors and then see some very specific stuff that's related to each major. So a lot of questions that students typically have are stuff like, what majors do you have? And then they might have a question about, if I choose that major, what's the career path that I would choose, and how often would, what does it look like to get to apply and be in that career? A lot of those questions are answered per major, which I really like. So good job for you guys thinking ahead.
Yes.
One of the questions that we have is, do you accept transfer students? Some students are in high school right now as high school seniors. That's kind of the assumption of the audience right here. But some of these students may decide to stay and go to a community college first.
Yes.
Can they apply in a couple years from now as transfer students?
Very good question. And yes, absolutely. In fact, we have different transfer options. So if a student has, let's say, gone to IVC, obtained their general associate degree, they can actually step into FIDM in several different capacities. Primarily, they can come in as a junior under what we call our Creative Industry Studies degree. And it's finishing off that junior and senior year with a specialization in their major. So whereas a fashion design student might have to take a lot of fashion design courses to graduate with a design degree, in the CIS, you can simply specialize in that particular area and still accomplish your bachelor's in your 4 years, 2 at IVC, 2 at FIDM. We also offer some very substantial transfer scholarships. So students who have gone to community college first, or even a 4-year college, can actually get some transfer scholarships that are automatic. I mentioned the fashion clubs. Those students can have a community college fashion club and still get those same scholarships as well. Yes.
I did. I love the fashion clubs. In fact, that kind of dovetails into another question about scholarships. You touched on it at the end, but the question was, are there scholarships available, and where can I apply for them? You showed a great little icon on your website where you can apply for those. But maybe real quick, just to double down on that.
If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen one more time.
Sure.
Be all right? I want to show you where you can find these, and there is actually a nice huge list. But if we go into financial aid under admissions, you can see the different types of scholarships that we offer, but there are also some outside organizations as well that offer scholarships to students who are going into majors that have to do with the clothing and entertainment industry. And there is a list, there's a massively huge list that you can explore under the admissions financial aid drop-down menu. So yes, many scholarships, we also have them as a student is progressing through FIDM, and as long as they maintain a 3.0, they can apply for those merit scholarships that can continue on. One of the things we have as well is a national scholarship competition. It is for a full 1-year scholarship, and it is, I believe, April 30th is the deadline for those. You submit a project, and I cannot stress enough how important it is to go for every scholarship you find, because you would absolutely be shocked at how few students access scholarship potential. So please don't think you won't get a scholarship. Try for all of them that you see out there, including ours. So
good. And we want to certainly reinforce that here at the County Office of Education. Apply, apply, apply.
absolutely.
Kelly, you have a beautiful scene behind you. Where's your school located? Do you have one campus or multiple?
Well, very good question as well. Our flagship campus is in downtown Los Angeles. It is in the heart of the fashion and jewelry and fabric district of LA. If you've ever had an opportunity to go down to that district, it's just, you could spend days and days there. It's fantastic. And we are we're positioned between the fashion district and the Staples Center. So in a very beautiful park area there off of Grand. And we do have a smaller satellite campus in Orange County as well as San Francisco, but 99% of our students will be in LA. It is where all of the apparel industry is driven from, as well as, of course, the entertainment industry.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
And this is the back side of the campus here.
Okay. It looks fun. Now, we had one question from a student who said, would I have to have any fashion industry experience? You mentioned some stuff about some other clubs, but maybe speak a little bit towards if a student is applying to help their application, what would you recommend for getting for their application if they don't have any prior experience?
Okay. You know, I always think that exploring creative classes is beneficial. Taking art classes, any of your schools that may have a digital media class or a film class or a journalism class. The creative classes that you take in high school only serve to build your knowledge and make it stronger. You don't need to have that experience. I know that in some high schools, there may be limited access to some of those creative classes. FIDM's role is to educate a student in these industries. And if we start with a student that just simply has passion for the industry, that's enough. But for your own benefit, seek out creative things. You know, push the limit of you know, your exploration into sketching, drawing, or just simply, you know, maybe photography, anything that is creative, but it will not determine whether or not you will be a student at FIDM. That is driven by simply the desire and the effort you put into your admissions project.
Wonderful. We had a quick question come in live here. As you know, we live here on the border. We have a lot of students who consider themselves international students just by the fact that we live on the border. Does FIDM offer study abroad? If so, where and how can students study abroad? Lovely.
Well, of course, right now, nobody's going abroad. But yes, we actually have several different, I have several different answers to that. We offer some study trips. So I mentioned briefly those junior year in a specialty. So for instance, entertainment set design, fashion, footwear. Some of those advanced programs will travel abroad. One of them is called our International Manufacturing and Product Development. That team of students travel to Europe and Asia to learn about production, sourcing, and creating a full line of clothes. But we also have a summer 2-week study abroad program where we're hitting some of the very key areas of Europe and the fashion industry. We have a New York study tour at spring break. And then we actually can partner with colleges across the world. We actually, if a student comes to us and says, you know, I really would like to go to Germany for some school, we can work with that college's course by course list. We do encourage students to do that minimum 1 quarter, or maximum 1 quarter, I should say, simply because the education at FIDM is so fast paced that to miss more than 1 quarter of your course could throw you off a bit. but we absolutely do have students who want to study, some in, France, some in England, some of those areas. So it depends on the student.
Great, and hopefully Latin America as well, because we love Latin America down
Well,
here on the border.
again, yes, the student would just have to present the college that they're looking at, and we would then work with a course by course, no matter where it is in the world.
Excellent. Now you mentioned a quarter as being a minimum to do, but that kind of brings up another topic. I heard you mention something about rolling admission and the concept of quarters and where you'd be starting. That's very different from many of the schools that were, there's strong deadlines, there's hard and fast deadlines about when you apply, when you get in. So maybe share a little bit more, if the student is just tuning in and maybe missed that part of it, when can they apply to FIDM, and then how often would they be able to start up at FIDM?
Okay, so as I had mentioned, it's never too early to start researching a college. And certainly as a junior or senior, we have some advantages to applying early, but that doesn't always work in a student's life. That doesn't always work with maybe deciding on their plan, or maybe their plans shift and change. And so FIDM does not have a hard, fast deadline as far as, no one beyond this point. If a student decides, again, in midsummer, that they have now determined what they want to do, they can still approach admissions and still prepare themselves to be able to enter the October quarter. I would say that very anxious, fast-paced seniors graduate. Some of them will start in July. They want to get going. They are ready to make it happen. And they can do a full 4 quarters, one after another, and actually finish their associate in a year and a half. I would say most graduating seniors start in October and do a 3-quarter year, but it's really up to the student and how quickly they want to progress. So.
Well, good. That's great information. Now, in summary, there's some time made, and maybe there might be a question or two that'll come in. So if you're a student who's listening in, you'd like to ask a question, feel free to do so right now.
Please.
But Kelly, if maybe in any kind of summary thoughts, if you have about why FIDM could be just the right university for a student here in Imperial County.
Absolutely. I think that all of us have that little bit of creativity. We sometimes don't know what to do with it. We don't understand the possible careers that are out there that could be driven by that hobby that you have, by that preference. Like I mentioned, you love social media. There's actually a career for that. You love being on the computer, playing video games. There is a career that can lead you into working in the video game industry, whether it's graphic design for character concept or getting into animation and special effects. Maybe you love theater. What could you do with that that's lucrative, that actually would provide a career that you can make a living off of? So I just always encourage students, think about some of the things that you just love to do, and then seek out the colleges that have those majors that could lead you to a career. The one, I guess, final thing I would say is on our website, at the very bottom of the page, is our career quiz. You can go on, click the link, and you can take a very quick career quiz based on things you like to do, based on preferences, based on things you don't like to do. It will give you a couple of majors to check out and explore. And so that's my advice to you. So hopefully that helps.
That was super helpful, Kelly. I really appreciate that, especially that career quiz. I can't stress the importance of taking those little quizzes. They're actually kind of fun, actually.
Yes.
To do, and it really does guide you into a direction that you may not have considered before. We did have one question just
I see it.
That. So go ahead, Kelly.
I see that question. Esmeralda says the average cost per year. So if I didn't mention it in the beginning, we're a private college. Private colleges, of course, you know, are a little more expensive than your state colleges. We run low to mid 30s per year. 90% of our students are accessing federal aid and student aid. So we really want to work with a student. It's one reason I like to encourage students to start the research early, because we can help find those scholarships, we can help find those grants, we can help find that that help that lifts the burden of college. Yes, and I still want to super stress the Fashion Club, because that's well over a whole year's tuition simply by running a club.
Absolutely. I've seen the club. I've seen you talk to students. I've met the presidents of these clubs. And they're just phenomenal young people in our community. So if you are a junior or a sophomore or freshman on this Higher Ed Week today, please find out about that club. I know I've worked with you all for many years, and I know.
Well, I know that Calexico had a huge club for many years, and I believe you may still have one. Southwest last year had a phenomenal club as well. Vincent Memorial had a club last year. So I'm just thinking of the different schools out there that have had the clubs, and you know, it's a great avenue to college.
Absolutely. Well, Kelly, we so appreciate you joining us today. It's always good to see our friends from FIDM. And we hope that everyone today got your questions answered. And if not, Kelly has shared her website and her email address. Please take advantage of this opportunity.
Yes.
It doesn't happen everywhere where people are giving out their email addresses to connect with you. So thank you, Kelly, for joining us on the call today. It's always great to see you. We appreciate you joining us for Higher Ed Week in Imperial County in this new virtual setting.
I know. Well, thank you, Denise. Again, I've said it before. I'm so glad that you guys continuing this tradition. This is fantastic. So good luck to all of you. Have a wonderful year. I know it's a different year, but you'll have something to look back on and tell a story about. So hang in there.